Hey everyone, Ryan here, we're MandRproductions, and welcome to Ask MandR episode 174, the series where I answer your questions. If you have a question you want answered on next week's episode, make sure you leave it down in the comments section below, and while you're down there, make sure you hit that like button. Anyway, our first question comes from Mr. Soros. He says, what's the word on LEGO spinning the top notch 180 degrees on the new little itty bitty TIE Fighter? So there is no word on that. LEGO, of course, hasn't come out and said anything. They'll change a random minifigure a year and a half after a set's released, but they can't be bothered to fix a very simple thing on top of a TIE Fighter, which is a very iconic thing, and something that over this, they've had it right for the last 20 years. It boggles my mind how all of a sudden they just have it blatantly wrong, and I still love that the picture, one of the pictures, it has it in dark gray, but in the actual set it comes in light gray, and it's spun around in both. So yeah, they're never going to fix that. It's never going to happen. And I see this like straw man argument used a lot, especially with the AAT from last year. If you can modify it, you can modify anything to be better. That's an obvious thing in anyone's mind, I would say. The way it comes is what matters, because only the best is good enough, of course, except for LEGO Star Wars. City says, was it ever hard for you to find people in your school that were fans of LEGO? I wasn't ever really looking for people in my school that were fans of LEGO, to be honest. Like, it just was never something that was like a friendship requirement. I don't know, like, and LEGO's also more niche than, say, a sports fandom. Like, I had friends that were like Red Sox, Patriots, Celtics fans, and like I knew those people, right? And I was like, yeah, we would talk about sports and stuff, but like LEGO is just a more niche thing, especially as you get older in high school and whatnot. I would say if you're trying to look for people that have that similar interest, you should probably see if you can get in like a LEGO robotics club that they might have at your school. Canadian Meme Dealer says, how did you find time to make videos when you were still in school and had a regular job? I've started making videos on a different channel and it has been kind of hard. Usually I just do it really late at night, but I end up losing sleep. So that's the unfortunate trade-off for a lot of people when you have a YouTube channel that's not profitable or not like your main focus, is that you do have to give up things like sleep if you want to be on the grind. Like, you just can't do everything, and that's the unfortunate thing about life, I guess, is there's 24 hours in a day. 8 of them, 7 of them, whatever, have to be dedicated to sleep. So there you go. You're already down to like 16 hours in a day. If you go to school or work or whatever, you're down to 8 hours in a day. Commute, and your time obviously is getting shaved off very fast, if you see where I'm going with this. So I personally think it would be best if we look back at my YouTube channel during some of these time periods. So I've basically had 2 jobs. I did plumbing with my grandpa's plumbing business for a bunch of summers, but that's a little bit harder to tell like the hard dates on, and it was kind of a soft job. Like, it was, you know, just not like the most formal job ever, right? At this other place that I worked, that was like a indoor fun place, whatever, for kids, and I worked there from like January 2017 until like May of 2017, at which point I was like, dude, I'm gonna do YouTube, like, let's try and make money from there. And at that point it was making me more than I was making from minimum wage, so like it just made sense. Of course, like any sensible person would have made the same decision. Obviously that has worked out pretty well. I was still doing school at that point as well, and I hadn't quit school yet. So if you look back December 2016, I'm posting almost daily. There are very few gaps in content there, basically because college was kind of off in December, most of December and most of early January, so I didn't have that going on, and I'd yet to be hired at that place. But come February, when I started working and of course school was ramped up, you'll notice that there were definitely some gaps in content that would have maybe otherwise been daily. And I think the other important thing to say with this is, like, just because I do daily content or nearly daily content, or you see other people doing daily content or nearly daily content, doesn't mean you have to. You're obviously just starting a channel. It's obviously not your main thing. It's obviously not your job, and you should treat it as such. Now, it doesn't mean you can't do good things with it and it can't become that thing, but if it's not your main focus, or it can't be your main focus, you really should keep that in mind. Maybe post once a week, maybe post once a month, maybe bi-weekly, whatever you can do that you can put out what you think is a reasonably good piece of content that people are going to want to watch, so that you can build off of it. I think a really good example of this, to show maybe how busy I was during the time, although I don't personally perfectly remember all of this, is that I uploaded a video on February 28th, 2017, of getting all the new LEGO Star Wars sets that had just come out, and I was like really excited. They were just on sale at Toys R Us or whatever, and I had just bought them. And you'll notice the reviews took me like 2 weeks to get through. That never happens nowadays. Like, I'm really on it. I have the time to get to it. And you look back then, and it took over 2 weeks for me to get through all of the set reviews for those new sets. So you can see where my focus was still on LEGO, but I couldn't completely focus on the channel because I had a lot of other things going on between working and school. But there are definitely things you can do to make it easier for yourself, including having realistic goals. Seriously, like not having like a daily posting goal when you have to spend 8 hours a day at work and 3 hours a day doing school. Like, you shouldn't be posting daily. Two Boys and Some Bricks says, hey Ryan, when do you think you'll get the summer sets for reviews? So normally I wouldn't answer this type of question, but I actually creates kind of a really weird conundrum this year because Brick for Virginia is happening during the release weekend of all the LEGO Star Wars sets. And as you know, I'm not part of LAN anymore, so I won't get them early from them to like have videos done. Typically, stores sell them early, and I'm pretty positive I'll be able to get it from a store that will sell them early. I mean, I've pretty much done that for the last 6 or 7 years at this point. Like, it just happens very often, and it shouldn't be a huge problem there. Now, obviously, if any of you guys have any secret ways to get sets early, send me a message, I guess. Or if you see them show up early at your stores, I would happily pay to have them shipped to me if you're able and willing to do that. But if I end up somehow not getting them early, the reviews won't be until after August 1st when I get back from Brick for Virginia. But if I do get them, I would assume I would get them like middle of July. Lego Eric says, will M&R Summer Saturdays be making a return this year? Yes, sir! I'm very excited for Summer Saturdays again. Have some big stuff in store. I guess I can announce my first one right now because it should be taking place in about 2 weeks from now. So it will be Saturday, May 22nd, exact time to be announced. So less than 2 weeks from now, in fact. And what it will be is my friend Sean, aka Legos Fan, will be in town. He's my first ever YouTube friend from all the way back in 2009. Very fun times. Just great memories of that era of like the Lego YouTube space. And we're going to be building a Lego clone base on live stream, just like you would have in like 2010, 2011, using the basic dark bluish gray 2x4s, using them good old clone troopers, none of this newfangled blue 501st stuff. We want to try to do a tried and true 2010-ish Lego Star Wars mock during the span of that live stream, which at most would take like 5. Like, the mocks were pretty simple back then. So very excited for that. Ordering some parts this week to make sure everything is good to go there. But yeah, that's the first Summer Saturday, and I'm very, very hyped for it. Evan Moore says, do you think the Cara Dune minifigure will go up in price when the AT-ST Raider retires? So yes, but no. Yes, it will go up in price, but no, it won't go up in rarity, kinda, I think. So the deal is that right now it's in the AT-ST Raider, which is a retail $50 set, but she is supposed to be coming in the Moff Gideon's Cruiser, which is a retail $160 set this summer. A lot of people, myself included, previously hypothesized that she would be removed from the set after she was fired from the show. However, I don't think this is the case because Disney Springs, which is Disney property, the same Disney Springs that didn't allow the Lego Stranger Things set to be sold the first day because it was on Disney property, is still selling merch with Cara Dune. If the Cara Dune thing was such a big deal to them, they just wouldn't be selling Cara Dune stuff. So here's my hypothesis on this. I think Cara Dune's still going to come in the set, although I don't know this for fact, although I have heard that she is in production at the factory, I guess, so I guess that goes there too. So I think she's still going to be in the set personally, and what I think happens here is the AT-ST Raider retires, so she was previously in a $50 set, and now she's only in a $160 set. So now because she's in a more expensive set, she inherently becomes a more expensive minifigure to get, and therefore, even though she's still available, I think the price is going to creep up a little bit from where it is. Although I don't know where the price is at right now exactly. It might be a little still artificially inflated from her being fired and everyone thinking she wouldn't be in future sets. And this is all assuming my hypothesis that she's going to end up in this set is true, so remember that. But yeah, I think the price will creep up slowly, but she's still going to be available, so I wouldn't expect it to hit like $50 overnight or anything crazy. Saucy says, what are the chances of getting a 212 battle pack sometime soon? None. Zero, zilch, nada. There are no battle packs. Lego doesn't care. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. Look, I want it too. Trust me. The main reason I picked this one was 212 troopers are worth a lot of money. That's true. Yes, but also the shock troopers or like the Coruscant guard troopers, dude, they're like someone told me the other day, and I looked it up, $50 each for these red clones. Like, what? What? When did this happen? I'm like over, like, I don't pay attention to the older clone prices like every day. And so every once in a while someone will come to me and be like, did you know this one's worth $50? I'd be like, no way. And I look it up, it's like, yeah, $50, brand new. Like, that's what you have to pay. I don't know why Lego doesn't see this. I mean, I know they see this because it's obvious. They own Bricklink, right? Although they own Bricklink and actively discourage people from investing and reselling their product. Quite the interesting way to run your business there, in my opinion. I don't see why they don't release a battle pack or a set much like the 2007 battle pack where you have a regular clone trooper, maybe a 212th clone trooper, a 327th, and then the Coruscant red shock trooper, whatever. So it's blowing my mind here. I don't know what's going on there. I see some real missed opportunities, especially with the Bad Batch here back. And maybe 2022 changes that. I don't know anything for 2022 yet. Maybe there are some sets with clone troopers that are cheap because they know people want to build armies. It's very obvious from the 501st set. So we'll see. I would love to get some of those in a relatively cheap set that makes it somewhat easy to army build, because I was watching Bad Batch the other day and seeing a lot of those clone troopers really made me want to go spend an absurd amount of money that I just can't spend right now. It's stupid to spend $50 on one trooper, and if you want 10 of them, it's $500. Like, I can't do it. No way. Never gonna happen. Mark says, I want to start investing into Lego. What set do you think I should get sealed in large quantities? So I think there are some pretty obvious answers here right now out of sets that are currently available, and the bigger you go, I think the harder it gets, especially space-wise. Like, investing in Lego is a problem because of the space it will take up. It's gonna cost you some space, and very significantly so if you want to buy in large quantities. I think the 501st Battle Pack, if you can get it for $20 and under, great investment. I think the Duel on Mustafar is going to be a good one, especially at $16. It's just a really nice set of a classic scene, and it's really cheap right now. You also have the Darth Vader's Castle. That one's going to be harder to get on sale, but I could see that one easily doubling in value relatively quickly, especially with some exclusive figures. It's Darth Vader's Castle. They've never made Darth Vader's Castle before, and I'm not saying they're never going to make it again, because that's an absurd thing to say, I think, just given that the timeline for Lego Star Wars at this point is 20 years and then infinity. So obviously with infinity, and we don't know how long Lego Star Wars may or may not go for, they could make anything at any point in time in the future. But it seems like Darth Vader's Castle is something that is very niche and won't happen very often. So that one seems like a pretty sound investment to me. Those are kind of the main three that I would run with right now if I was going to invest some large amount of money into Lego Star Wars. And I guess I have to say this, I'm not a financial advisor, and please don't be mad at me if this doesn't work out for you. Do your own research, look into what you think is going to be popular in the next 5-10 years, how long you're trying to hold it. There's a lot of variables with this sort of stuff too. Like, you never know. Like, a lot of times the value of one set could be tied to a singular minifigure, and if Lego were to re-release that singular minifigure, well, all of a sudden your value has plummeted quite significantly. So a lot of things can change and happen very quickly. So I wish you the best of luck investing in Lego. Jedi Guy 427 says, where did you get the Hot Wheels Bad Batch Shuttle? My son has been going nuts since the show was announced, and thanks for the kind words at the end. I bought it at Target. It was only like $5. So yeah, I don't know like the availability of these Bad Batch, or really the Hot Wheels Star Wars vehicles. I've never bought one before. I may never buy one again. I found it on the shelf. I know they're just now coming out, so they may be a little bit hard to find, especially with the popularity of the show, be hard to find. Maybe also check Walmart, although I'm not sure if Walmart sells these specifically. I hadn't seen them there, but I know Target does. Within all their other Hot Wheels stuff, it's there. You just have to look for it, and good luck. Captain Canuck says, if a set is exclusive at Walmart or Amazon, can you still buy it on the Lego website? So I think I said some confusing things in my last video, or at least confusing in the context of the year 2020, because the year 2020 kind of reshaped what a lot of people think as exclusive. So with sets like the Bespin Duel and the Nebulon B Frigate, they were Target and Amazon exclusives, but not in the way that we had really ever seen before. So it kind of changed the way a lot of people think about this, and I've seen a lot of people confused about it. So this is probably a good place to clear the air, if you will. Some people were really worried about a lot of this stuff for, in my opinion, no reason, because I, in my mind, knew what I was talking about, but they interpreted it differently. So like those sets from last year were limited sets. They were originally meant for San Diego Comic-Con and Star Wars Celebration, and as such, there were only like 5,000 of each produced, and that's why you saw them available in the US as a Walmart or Amazon or Target exclusive, only in limited numbers, sold out and then never sold again. Now, the way it typically works when someone says Walmart or Target or Amazon exclusive is that they are a retailer exclusive. And in this sense as well, this is usually targeted towards America, although I know in other countries it can also vary. So like if something is a Target exclusive in America, let's say Cad Bane Speeder from like 2010, was also available from Lego.com, and it was also available in other countries. And the same can be said for pretty much every other store exclusive except in the year 2020, where we had some very weird things happen. So, for example, this summer, there's the $30 Target exclusive Mandalorian Forge, and then there's the $60 Walmart exclusive Mandalorian Fighter. And a lot of people are like, oh, these are only going to be available in the US, Lego hates everyone else. This just isn't true. These exclusives are exclusives in the same sense as every other exclusive for the last 20 years was exclusive to Target, but also available at Lego, and also available in every other country from Lego and your local retailers. But yes, typically anything exclusive, and I guess the word exclusive doesn't fit this well, but it's what it's always been called. Long one here from John Doe. You can pause if you want to read the whole thing. I'll just give you the gist of it. He says that the Bad Batch shuttle in the US is $100, and if you translate that to Canadian, it's about $120 Canadian, but LEGO is selling it for $140 Canadian, which is like $120 US. And the true basic answer to this is I don't know. I don't know why this set specifically is so exorbitantly higher as far as a conversion rate. You're basically paying 40% extra as a Canadian versus what you would pay in America. I know Canadian sales taxes aren't included in the price, so that's not the answer to this mystery. There is precedent for these $100 sets being $140 in Canada. In fact, last year's summer 2020 Harry Potter lineup included two $100 sets, and both of them cost $140 in Canada. Now, it's also worth noting, I suppose, in the Harry Potter realm of things, that the 2018 summer set that was $100 was $130 Canadian. So you can see this slight increase in the gap there, and I'm not sure why. The way I like to think about this with these conversion rate things, and maybe you don't like to think about it this way, but I think it's a very fair way to think about it, is you win some, you lose some. For example, Darth Vader's castle is 150 Canadian, only 10 Canadian more than the Bad Batch shuttle, versus the US price, which is $130, and that's $30 US more than the Bad Batch shuttle. But if you do the conversion right now, the 150 Canadian dollars is only 124 Canadian dollars, so you're saving $6. I know that's not the $20 that the Bad Batch shuttle is, but the UCS Millennium Falcon is even $56 less than the US price when converted. So like I said, you win some, you lose some. They seem to just have a thing with making these $100 sets currently in the US end up costing $140 in Canada for whatever reason. So as far as I can tell, this isn't something that's out of the blue. These conversion rates have never been perfect, and they never will be perfect. I'm sure if you compare the Canadian price to other prices converted, you're winning that battle. At the end of the day, one price somewhere will be lower than all the others. Is that the case with the Bad Batch shuttle in the US? I don't know. Haven't compared it to all the other countries and currencies, but Canada certainly on this particular set seems to have gotten the short end of the stick. Factual Bricks, a man of class I must add after reading his question here. He says, what happened to Texas Lego Boy? Oh boy, speaking of 2010 Lego Star Wars community, Texas Lego Boy was a classic Lego dude. I mean, the guy rose to fame really quick, and by fame I mean like a few thousand subscribers. By today's standards, it's relatively small, but back in the day, of course, huge channel. Loved all the mocks he was posting. So like him and his dad were building a ton of mocks over the course of like 1 year. They had a ton of like custom gunships and colors and very, very cool stuff for the time. I'll tell you, like this made anyone that was a LEGO Star Wars fan back in the day extremely envious. And honestly, some of the bases, while not like incredible by today's standards, still kind of hold up. But I think the answer as to what happened to him is pretty simple. He posted for a year, and then his last video ever is basically, I'm out of LEGO Star Wars, I don't really care about it anymore or whatever, and I'm selling it all on eBay. And he sold all his stuff on eBay as far as I'm concerned. Trooper CT5597 says, what are your response when people say LEGO is for kids? There are things like this that are like complete straw man arguments that I just completely shut down and stop engaging with somebody for. Like, you're more than welcome to disagree with somebody on a topic or have a different opinion, but when you come out of left field and like, let's say I care about the way that the tile on top of a TIE fighter is oriented. I know that's really small, nitpicky, whatever you want to call it, but the fact of the matter is LEGO got it wrong. And saying LEGO is just for kids doesn't make the fact that LEGO got it wrong any better. They still got it wrong, and they should still fix it because they're a company whose basis is only the best is good enough. They say it all the time. That's why I say it. I don't just say it to say it. And when someone comes from left field and says LEGO's just for kids, I'm done engaging with you. Have a nice day. This conversation is over. This is not relevant to what's happening here at all. One, they're wrong, and two, you just don't engage. There is no response to that. They're obviously being ignorant on purpose, and there's just nothing you can do to that. And to wrap us up, a fun fact of the day from Zachary. He says, if you buy a $60 helmet set and a $5 CMF in California, then your total comes out to $69.69. A very fun fact indeed. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. If you have a question for next week's episode, make sure you leave it in the comment section below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I got a flight to California to catch.